Hello. So today I'd like to demonstrate to you, very quick demonstration really, of how to make a herringbone bezel like this. In this example, this is an 18 millimeter cabochon, glass cabochon, which of course you can use it for 18 or adjust your bead sizes and bead counts for other sizes. But the main thing I want to show you is how to weave this. Everybody really knows how to make this kind of flat herringbone stitch, but the only difference here is that on the sides we have 50 O's and in the middle we have 11 O's, and it fits beautifully. Afterwards we're going to close it up so it sits very nicely and tightly around. So for the 18 millimeter cabochon I have 40 11 O's all going all around, and these the important note here is that these are Tohos. Okay, so you will not achieve the same result with Miyuki, for example, beads, because they are smaller. So there we are. I'll show you how to close that after I demonstrate the stitch on some bigger beads. I have here some 8 O's and some 11 O's, also Toho beads. Okay, so I've got a little thread. Here I'm just demonstrating to you, so I don't need a long piece of thread. We start by putting on two smaller beads, two larger beads of the next size. I mean, you can make this bezel with like this 11 and 8 O's with oh, I think that's a good time to zoom in actually. Yes. So with 15 O's, 11 O's, with 11 O's, 8 O's, with 8 O's, 6 O's, and so on. Just any two sort of consecutive sizes of beads. So we start with 2 11 O's, 2 8 O's, 2 more 8 O's, so 4 8 O's I should say, and 2 more 11 O's. Okay, that's our set. This is what we start with. We bring that to, you can have stop bead on the end if you need to. I don't usually use those. Okay, so now to make our turn, okay, let me show you like this. Okay, so to make our turn, we need to pick up one of the smaller size. Okay, I'll refer to them as smaller and larger size. And then we skip the first one and we come out of the second smaller size bead. Okay, so we go like this, right? This is what we have at this point. Okay, now we pick up one smaller size and one larger size. Okay, and then we go into the next larger size one, to the next larger size one. We skip two larger sizes and go into the last larger size bead. Okay, it'll all make sense. Just keep following the steps and it'll make sense in the end. And then, oh, I lost one of my 11 O's there. So we go like this, and now we pick up one larger bead and one smaller bead. Okay, one larger and one smaller bead. Okay, or 8 O and 11 O in this case, and then we just go through the next 11 O. Okay, so this is what you see. We have our herringbone. It's starting up. If you're familiar with the herringbone, this will be very easy for you. So it's very fiddly at the beginning, which is why I want to show you these steps. Okay, so now we repeat. You can even turn it around if you like, and you can repeat the same steps. So we have here, we have two smaller ones on the end. We pick up another smaller ones and go into the the uppermost smaller one. Okay, so we have at the moment this kind of letter M, if we look at it this way. Then we pick up a smaller and a larger bead, and we go into this larger bead, the closest ones to the smallest beads, and the one that's closest to the other smallest beads. Okay, so we just skip all these bigger beads in between. Okay, if you keep watching, it'll start making sense. Oh, I lost 111 on the end there. Okay, now at this end we pick up a bigger bead and a smaller bead, and we're gonna go into the next smaller bead. Okay, now we need to pick up a smaller bead, and then we go into the uppermost smaller bead. Okay, just to give you an idea what we have now. This is what we have now. Okay, so now you see between the smaller and larger bead we need to insert another smaller and larger bead. Okay, then we go into the larger bead, and then we go into the larger bead that's farthest away from it. So okay, oh, I lost 111 here that I need. It's very important to keep that last 11 the first 11 that we put on, because that's how we'll be joined. So at this point you can either turn around, you can turn your beadwork whichever way is most useful for you. So as you can see, we have the herringbone. We have just except instead of all the same sizes, we have one column going here of smaller and larger bead. Okay, and here's another column of larger and smaller bead. And each time we reach the edge, we turn around by picking up a smaller bead. So let's insert a larger and smaller bead in here, in between the larger and smaller bead. Okay, here we are. So it's our familiar herringbone structure. Okay, then we pick up a smaller bead and go into the uppermost smaller bead. If you've ever done any flat herringbone, this will be very easy for you to do. The only difference is that we have on the edge we have the smaller size beads running, and in the middle we have the larger size beads. So once again, between the smaller and larger bead we take another one smaller and one larger bead, go into this large, come out of the large bead of the next column. Okay, I'm trying to explain it in as many ways I possibly can, and picking up another larger and a smaller bead to insert over the larger and the smaller bead here, and we go into the smaller bead. Okay, and if you want, you can turn your work around, but as you can see, so make sure to keep your tension tight to make sure that and over time you'll start seeing that the sides will start curling in, so you'll have this on the outside. And so at this point, as you can see, we pick up the smaller bead, we go into the uppermost smaller bead, so that's our turnaround. And then once again over this column we pick up a smaller and a larger bead, and we insert them over this column, and then we come out of the larger bead, and we pick up a larger and a smaller bead coming out of this smaller bead here, and to turn around we pick up a smaller bead and go up through the smallest bead in that column. Okay, and we just keep going. It's very repetitive. So now for our bezel, which let me straighten things out here. Okay, So remember how we picked up, and here we have our loose smaller bead up there, and you see how it goes. The smaller beads, they start turning in, okay? So now, in order to join our start, so this is our start, and this is our where we just finished working. So you see, so now instead of inserting a smaller and a larger bead, we pick up from here the smaller and the larger bead here. Okay, pick up this smaller bead and this larger bead. Okay, and then we're gonna go into this large bead and then straight across into the large bead of the other column on the left. I'm not going to pull the thread together yet because we're going to insert our cabochon. So now in here we need to insert a larger and a smaller bead between this larger and smaller, and here we have our larger bead here. And we have our smaller bead, the one that's loose that we picked up. We picked up 2 smaller beads to start with. And that's what we pick up at this point. We pick this small bead, and then we're gonna go into the small bead here, this column, okay? There we are. Okay, so this will zip it up, okay? But I'm going to just quickly wipe my cabochon, and I'm going to insert it into my bezel, and now I can really pull tight, make sure everything gets zipped up. So we have here 40 beads going around in a circle. Now to make this part here, to make sure we tighten this up, we're going to pick up one more small bead, because we still have one small bead missing, to make a turn around, and then we're going to need to go into this bead again, okay? That's the last bead of this row now. And now we can really tighten them together. Okay. So what I would do is keep going in the same motion like we've done before. We go into the large, then next large, and then go into the smaller bead, because for now it's all still loose, so we just keep doing the same thread work, okay, the same thread path. So now we turn around. That's instead of picking up a bead, we just go through this bead and come out of this bead here. So just keep following the same thread path as before. Oh, I'm gonna go down here, up here through the big one, and then we're gonna go down into this bead here, okay? And then we're gonna turn around again by going through these 2 smaller beads. And here, yeah. So you can follow this thread path a few times around. As you can see, we'll have like a really nice herringbone edge here. And what you can do once you've gone through this beads. You can just keep following just through the small ones to go around, and then play around if you need. I think I could have done with possibly 38 beads. The point here is it has to be an even number going around the cabochon. So I think I might go back around, but it doesn't change how we close this. So once you go around all these little 50 no's, you can really tighten up and close the bezel. But I think what I might need to do... No, I'm going to keep going with the number 40. I'm going to stick with my number 40. Let me see if I can pick up the thread on. Well, it's still quite loose. So anyway, I'd go all the way around all of them. And at this point you are ready to make your own herringbone bezel, but if you want to see how I tighten it in, you're welcome to stay and have a look. I'm just gonna go around all this. No's. So you can play around with the number of beads, but I'm pretty sure number 40, that's what I need for my, unless I really forgot that. Anyway, we'll find out in a minute once I go all the way around and I can really tighten it. Yes, there. Now it's really tightening, as you will see. But don't pull the way I did. It's best to pull once the cabochon is in. Right, and here we need to be very careful because here it's still like very loose. So we're gonna go through the following two 50 no's. Okay, and now what I'll do is I'll pop in my cabochon if it still goes in, unless I tightened it too much. Okay, no, it goes in. Yes, good. Yes, I'm happy with that. Okay, so this is what it'll look like on the back. So it's a really pretty bezel. Okay, now what I'll do is I'll go through here a little further, and then I'm gonna go take my needle and thread onto the other side. And then I'm gonna go around all the 50 no's on this side. Okay. Can seem a little fiddly at first, but don't worry. Let me make sure that it's all like nice and tight in the back. Yes, I think I was right with my 40 bead count. Anyway, that's what I remembered from doing it years ago. So just nothing new here, just keep going around the circle. Let's see if I can get through like 4, maybe 5 of them at once. Yeah, that would be good. Okay. And the reason I actually prefer this bezel to the square stitch is because it's just the beads, they lie a bit neater, you know, in the circle. The only thing is I'm not sure if you'll be able to, you'd have to play with the bead count to see if you could still use the same bead count as in square stitch, but I don't think you could use them in the designs with the square stitch bezels because as you can see in the herringbone, the beads, they lie at a diagonal. See, as you, they all lie on a diagonal. So okay, and now we tighten, and now we can see that 40 beads were indeed absolutely perfect for what I needed here. So this is our back, okay, and this is our front, and it's got these lovely little kind of teeth sticking out. So it's really, well, I really like this bezel. So I haven't seen, I don't know, it's possible that someone else has done a bezel like this before. I mean, it's, I wouldn't be surprised, but I have not seen anybody else make a bezel like this. But so yes, you're welcome to experiment with your sizes of cabochons and the sizes of beads. Like, you know, this, of course, with like the size 8 and size 11 beads, you're gonna have a much more gradual curve, which would be perfect for much bigger beads, for example, much bigger cabochons. For example, if you have like a 2-inch cabochon, you're not gonna want to, you won't be able, I don't think, to use the 11 and 15 or 11-0 and 15-0 method for the 2-inch cabochon, but the 8-0 and 11-0, it might work very well. Or you might even need to use 6-0 and 8-0. So anyway, there we are. It's very easy. If you know herringbone, this is a piece of cake to make, and it's very, very quick to construct. So yes, it's a little fiddly to show on camera for me because I don't know, I still cannot get used to demonstrating things on the camera. So yes, but there you are. Hope you enjoy. So we have here our flat side and our domed side of the cabochon. Have fun and see you for, oh yes, of course, for the next tutorial I'm going to it'll be a sponsored video for BB Craft to use some of the leaves. So we'll be using this bezel. If you want, you can make this bezel with an 18mm cabochon as kind of homework, and in the next tutorial we'll be using some leaves to make a sunflower pendant out of this, you know, extending on this bezel. So yes, happy holidays, everyone. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah, whatever holidays you celebrate. If you celebrate nothing, Happy Monday. So see you soon. Bye.